Hey, everybody. Welcome into the studio for another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian. We appreciate you being with us. And today on the program, we have head coach of Fort Zumwalt West baseball program, Eric Gough. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on. It's great for the invite, and always love talking baseball, without a doubt.
Well, we appreciate it because that's what we do here. We want to talk baseball. There's so much that has happened, and we believe, Matt and I both, that the St. Louis Metro, state of Missouri, the Midwest in general, has a lot of great baseball, a lot of great baseball coaches, players, minds across the board. So we include you in that.
Well, that's a privilege and an honor. There's no doubt that it's a St. Charles County, I think, is as good a baseball area as anywhere in the state of Missouri, and I feel confident that we can stack up with anybody across the country. So it's a quality area for baseball, and feel fortunate to be a part of it and be able to go out and have a high level of kids that can compete and get after it and really play a high quality level of baseball. So it's exciting. It's fun. Makes going to the ballpark fun.
There you go. So we're going to start off today talking, you're preparing for the upcoming season. We're in December here. You're facing some challenges. I know we talked, Matt and I talked to Kenny Seifert with Misha a few weeks
hmm
back, and they're taking it day by day. And I'm sure you're having to deal with the same thing. So give us a little taste of how you're preparing for the season.
Well, every year is a different challenge, but one thing that we have at Zumwalt West is, summer youth baseball, in St. Louis is kind of its own beast, its own creature. And one of the challenges I found when I got into this 10 years ago was trying to balance preparing for the high school season in the winter without over overusing my kids, if you will, because I'm very blessed and fortunate that most, if not all, the kids we have at Zumwalt West, they play at a very high level in the summer. And they're playing on their select travel teams, and they have their summer ball coaches that are getting after them with 3 or 4 days and nights of workouts a week and so forth. And then I found that I was piling on top of them. And my big concern quickly became not overusing my kids in January, February, and making sure that they weren't putting themselves in a situation where they were going to be prepared for an injury rather than prepared for the season. So um, I think that my dynamic at Zumwalt West is different than some other buildings, some other schools. I know that there's a lot of top quality programs that have that in kind of in the St. Louis area. I think as you get outside of St. Louis, it's a little bit different. With the coaches are a little bit more hands-on with the summer activities and what they're able to do in the off season. But we try to balance what the kids are doing in the off season with their summer teams with getting them ready to go for the high school season. So this year is no different. The big exception is, just had a conversation with the athletic director just before Thanksgiving break, and obviously with the COVID-19 and all the concerns about keeping everybody healthy and safe, and minimizing contact as much as possible. He let us know that as of right now, he said don't plan on starting open gyms possibly till late February or till late January, early February.
Wow.
Um, because of the summer dynamic we've had, I've always pushed my winter workouts back until the beginning of January. And then we hit it pretty good for a good 6, 7 weeks. We have a week off, and then we get going into the high school season. But because of the COVID-19, we're going to be pushed back another 3 or 4 weeks and have a very short window to kind of get kids cranked up. The fortunate part that I have is most of my kids will be out working with their summer teams and getting their pitch counts up, getting their swings in, and doing the things they need to do to get their bodies ready to go. So we're just going to be delayed a little bit, and it might take a little longer to build up some pitch counts and get kids where they need to be. That we feel like we're keeping them healthy and yet being competitive. So that's part of the process of the season in March into April, and that might just take a little longer to get them going to maximize their pitch counts where we want them to be.
Let me ask you real quick before we go to the next thing. I just wanted to ask you real quick because we talked when we were talking with Kenny Seifert. Are you guys dealing with the fact that you might push the spring season back into the summer? Or are you really focused on getting the spring season in at its normal time?
Well, I don't want to speak for people above me that makes those decisions because that's
Okay,
not my
okay,
decision, obviously.
okay.
Um, I just show up and coach, and I can give my AD the input that I have, but I, from what I have seen with the Fort Zumwalt School District, that we're going to do everything we can to give the kids the opportunity to play and compete, because there's so many good things that come out of kids playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
Win, lose, or draw, and the old saying is it's better to to play. The old saying I'm thinking of, it's better to love and lost than never loved at all. And after going through what we went through in the spring, I would have so rather gone 0-26 or 0-30 than having the season take right up from under us, just because
Right.
I missed, and everybody did. I so regret the experiences that I missed sharing with that group of seniors that I watched grow up from, the time they were coming to the Fort Zumwalt West baseball camp when they were 10 years old, and not getting to experience that senior year with them, is something I replay that over and over in my head, that I wish I could go back and get that back, not just for me, but for them.
Right.
So I think our district overall has been very um, adamant about, we're going to do everything we can to do our best to get games in. The administration there has left the athletic directors the flexibility to pick up games on a whim, and try to get kids as many athletic contests as we can, no matter what the sport is. So as far as I can tell, it's going to be that we're going to do everything we can to get kids to compete as many games as we can in the season as it's been in the past. So
Very good.
that's kind of the model that we're going for, and what we're expecting moving forward.
Coach, now you've got they're telling you that if you have more games, are they going to allow you to have more players since you're going to play more games, or
Well, we're
you
still
just have
within the
strict
state.
rules? The state
Yeah,
hasn't said
we're
anything
still going to
different
be
on
under
that, right?
we're still going to be under the state minimum as far as our number of games that we're allowed to play. So at Zumwalt West, we maximize the schedule because we usually have a bunch of depth with our pitching, and I want to give those kids opportunities to compete.
Right.
So we play the full schedule of 16 regular season games plus 3 tournaments. We make sure that we get 5 game tournaments, so that gets us up to 31, and then we play our 4 or 5 bonus games as well. So we get up to 35 regular season games. Because I just feel the more opportunities kids get to compete, the better off they're going to be once they get in tough situations when playoff baseball comes around.
Right.
So the plan is we're going to do everything we can to get all 35 games in, and give kids those opportunities to play, to learn, to grow, to develop, and come together as a team and get ready to go. Give it a run for a state title every year.
Yeah, and I mean, hitting on that player wise, I mean, you've always have talent, and you need talent because you always are in top events. The Troy tournament's always good. The Rockbridge.
Indeed.
You go to see Rockbridge this coming season. I don't know if you were there last year or not, but you need talent, and you always have talent. So going on that aspect with the players, coming back, you've got Mason Whiteside, who
Indeed.
I don't think I think he's uncommitted. The last I heard, unless
He
he
is still
committed.
uncommitted, yeah.
Noah Hargraves
Yep.
is coming back. Outside of those 2 seniors, tell us, who else you have, how it's looking player-wise for you, and I mean, and you can talk about those kids as well if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure I'm going to leave somebody out, because that's going to be one of the challenges for this year is there's the group of seniors that I have. I don't know them nearly as well as I do in years past, obviously, because we didn't get to have the junior season to spend together, and for them to kind of get to know what my expectations are and kind of get them used to the nuances that we try to teach at Zumwalt West and kind of the team management concepts we try to teach. Um, but we're excited about this group without a doubt. Obviously, Mason, he's a kid that was a starter for us as a sophomore, played significantly, and just a load of talent. So he's a kid that we're going to lean on for leadership, because as far as any, as having experience at the varsity level, he's the only one we have. And, there's everybody around the state is in that boat where you're going to have a bunch of kids competing at the varsity level with little or no experience. And I think that's going to be one of the big challenges for the coaches around the state, is to try to, in a very short time frame, get kids to buy into what they're selling, because as head coaches, we all have our own little flares. We have our own little nuances. We do things just a little bit differently, but getting kids to buy in and getting them to play together and to sell out and compete as a unit is going to be tough, because the high school season's so dang short anyway. So, having Mason, who was a key contributor for us as a sophomore, he's going to be huge in that leadership aspect of just kind of making things go the right direction. I feel very fortunate that we have a great group of kids around him that have been very successful at the lower levels. And I'm very fortunate that I have just outstanding lower level coaches. I'm fortunate that, Ryan Edding's been my assistant since I've been the head coach. So he's been with me for 11 years now. And the JV guy, Matt Sissom, and then the freshman coach, Brian Spees, they've been with me. We've been a staff for 11 years together, which is awesome, because we're on the same page. We teach the same things, and we're in it for all the right reasons, that we want to see kids succeed at the varsity level. So, getting some other guys like Noah Hargraves, obviously he's a big, strong kid. He uses all of his body getting downhill on the mound, and I'm expecting to see a jump in his velocity again. And he's a kid that if he goes out and fills it up, he's got a real high ceiling, because he's kind of a big power pitcher, and I think has the ability to dominate a lineup. Some other guys that we're going to lean on that were kind of key players as sophomores on the JV team, and then guys that we were looking to contribute last year, especially guys like Nolan Miller. He's committed to Maryville. He's a right-handed pitcher and kind of a utility guy. He can play some third base. He can play some middle infield. He might settle in at the outfield somewhere, but he's a guy that we expect to jump in and be a key contributor for us, not just in what he does on the field, but also in a leadership aspect, because he's that kind of guy. Tanner Perry's going to be another solid arm for us that can contribute innings in a starter or reliever role, and we expect him to kind of help us out in the middle infield. And there's other guys in that senior class. I know Jericho Badwan was a kid that we were really impressed with on the bump as a left-handed pitcher early in the year, and we were really excited to see what he could do last year as a junior, and we'll be excited again to see what he can do as a senior this year. We got a lefty that I'm real excited about, a junior, Daniel Whistler. He's the kid who made the team last year as a sophomore and was going to get an opportunity to compete for some innings as well. But he's played at a real high level and gone to some elite pitching prospect kind of tournaments and showcases. And he's a kid that he's going to be a good one at Zumwalt West. He's kind of a tall, lanky lefty, and he has command like no kid that I've seen at Zumwalt West since Ryan Franklin, and he was an all-state pitcher. So I have great things to say about what Daniel Whistler can do, just simply because he's a command kind of guy, and as he gets bigger, he's going to continue to fill out his velocity and be a key guy for us. If not this year, by next year for sure. I expect big things out of him this year. So we got another a senior catcher we're expecting to have a good year in Harrison Burke. Is kind of a big guy who can plug some gaps and is just a great hard worker behind the plate. Jackson Stanley's a guy that's going to compete for some innings on the bump and in the outfield. So we got a bunch of guys that I can't wait to get out and give them the opportunity to compete and show us what they can do. So excited about the group of guys.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's in the same situation,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think it really helps that you have, you know, guys you can lean on as freshmen, sophomore coaches. Then you've had them for a long time, so you actually trust what they have to say about the kids. Second, third opinion always helps, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's anytime we go through the evaluation process, it's tryout week and selection week is the absolute worst week for high school coaches because we get the opportunity to tell kids that you can't play baseball here, which I hate. We dread it. We hate it. But every decision we make is a collaborative process. We put our heads together and we talk about how guys are going to fit together on the team, where they're best suited for roles, what they can do, what they're good at, what they're not so good at, where their strengths and weaknesses are, and all of our coaches have input into that. So I'm the ultimately the one who makes the final decision and has to bear that burden, but it's something we do collaboratively and we do it all together. And I'm so fortunate to have those guys that help us out. And I got some fantastic volunteer assistants as well. So we lean on a lot of guys to help the machine go. So
How many kids you usually have come out for you, coach, at a tryout?
it depends on the year. Obviously, it varies from year to year. Last year we had that horrible bubble of really talented kids. And I say that because last year we kept too many kids. I can't remember. I think we kept 22 kids last year. But the conversation with the bottom 5 or 6 kids was, this is going to be a developmental year for you. Their playing time is not going to really be abundant. You got to understand that we're just getting the opportunity to be a part of this and hopefully learn and grow and get better and then be a contributor as a senior. And we have that conversation every year with a lot of kids or with some kids. But, last year was the horrible year where we we had I think we had 30 plus kids try out at the varsity level. See you, babe. Sorry, we had an interruption from my bride there. Behind every
That's all
coach
right.
is a very supportive wife. So last year we had 30 or so kids plus, and at the varsity level, it's usually what it is. At our lower levels, we've had anywhere from 30 to 50 at the freshman level, and that kind of thins out for the JV level. And just kind of depends year to year. So usually 30 to 50. It seems to be going down the last couple of years at the freshman level, but usually we'll have 20 to 25 try out for our JV, and then around 30 or so try out for the varsity is kind of where we're at usually year to year.
So I'm going to get you out of here with this, coach, and I want to see what you got. You compete at a high level every year. I know. I know a few years ago you were in the state finals.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, and so you've got some teams you're looking at. Where do you see the state rolling out at your class level? What are teams you're looking at that you think you're going to have to compete against? Top 5? Where are we at?
Shoot, I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody when I say this, but year in, year out, we always feel like if we win the GAC South or we're competitive in the GAC South, whoever comes out of that conference, our conference, is going to be good enough to win the state title, or at least be real competitive for it. Because Hal, of course, year in and year out puts a good team on the field. They're going to be good again because they were so young. 2 years ago, they were really young. They had a bunch of sophomores playing, and now they got a 95 mile an hour arm in the Norfleet kid who's going to be a bear for the next 3 years. So they're going to be something. They're going to be really tough to beat whenever he throws. But behind that, they got a really strong group of seniors is what he has over there this year. So they're going to be really tough. I expect them to be one of the top teams in the state. Troy's a team that's really been on the rise, and I expect them to be really tough. They've kind of made that next step as a program. So I expect that they're going to be really competitive and really darn good. The GAC South is going to be tough as every year. So When you get across the river, I'm not as sure how those guys stack in year to year in and year out. But Marquette every dang year. John Meyer does such a great job there.
Yeah.
They have a really good team every year. Um, you know, if CBC, obviously, we feel very fortunate that Christian Little decided to go ahead and go to Vanderbilt, and we don't have to face him. You're not going to run. You have to run into him to win a sectional or quarterfinal kind of a playoff baseball game. So that's a benefit for everyone who's not CBC. But Mason does a great job there every year. Vianney, year in and year out. Scott Brown's a national coach of the year kind of a guy, and they're going to be nails again. But then you go to Mid Missouri, and Rockbridge is going to be very solid again. He's got some arms, and he's got some dudes to just get after it. That's Justin Tao out there, does a great job. So I expect them to be, very good as well. So and even a program like Jackson, down that kind of getting out of St. Louis, Jackson year in and year out puts together quality clubs, and they're good enough to make a run at it any year too. So I know Liberty is going to be really talented getting back out here to St. Charles County. They got the Victor Quinn kid who's going to Oregon State. So there's a bunch of talent in the area, and it's going to be some good baseball. So it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun to watch. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. Coach, we appreciate you joining with us, man. That was a great preview of your program, and enjoyed talking baseball with you today.
Oh, always love it. Thank you. And anytime you want to talk baseball, I'm always willing. So appreciate you guys and what you're doing for youth sports, and keep getting after it.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck to you guys this season.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys. Thanks again.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Coach Eric Gough, Fort Zumwalt West High School. Remember, always, you pitchers keep throwing strikes. You hitters, what do? You guys
hit it where they ain't.
Hit it where they ain't. That's right. Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you next time.